Good morning, everybody. So it's just gone 6:30. I am not coming on camera because I've just washed my hair, haven't done my makeup, pretty much just got out of bed, and I was in the garden, and as usually happens when I'm in the garden, I see something where I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just do this thing quickly. So I can't remember if I told you about the debacle of the chocolate mint plant and how like it was doing really well, and then now over the last couple weeks it hasn't been doing so well. And I was looking at it, and the thing about mint is I find like it obviously has its root structure underground, and I find that it is very resilient. Like you can trim it so far back until the point that you think it doesn't exist and it will still come back. So I was looking at it and I was like, you know what, I think it's not gonna improve itself from the way it looks right now. So I thought I would just trim it all, and then we're gonna dry out the leaves so that I can save it for tea, or I've been thinking about trying to make a tincture or something, learning how to make tinctures, which could be interesting. So anyways, first step is we're gonna dry out the mint leaves, and I've tried doing this a couple different ways. And I'm going to try a new way, because before what I did was I would like kind of make a little bundle with them and then like string them up and then try and hang them somewhere. But there's not really anywhere good to hang them where it's not going to get like bashed around or like in the way or whatever. So the next method we're going to try is apparently you put the leaves in a single layer. I'm doing it just on a tray so that it's easy to move around. And then you put another layer on top, and then you just leave them. So I have my little trug full of, and this marigold that I deadheaded, and I thought, well, let's see if I can do anything with the petals, because marigolds are edible. So, well, this one has a bit long of a stem, which I might trim because that's not going to do anything for us. So I thought I would just I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. Oh my goodness. This smells amazing. And so I just thought we could put these out, and then we're just gonna leave it to, I'll get rid of any of the like really dead leaves because I don't think those will dry very nicely, or the stem kind of thing. I don't think you have to trim the stems. I'm just doing it in the interest of saving space on the tray, because you don't want them to be like, I think it's okay if they're touching, but you don't want them to be like, you want to let the air be able to circulate in there and dry them out, right? Like, you don't want them to get moldy or anything, which I don't think should happen, because, I mean, my place is pretty, I think it's pretty well ventilated. Like, it's not really a humid time of year. Actually, in summer, I was going to say it might be hard, but with the air conditioning on and the way that just makes the room so dry, it might actually not be a bad environment for drying out the mint. Like, see, some of this is just completely dead. I don't know if it's going to focus, but I was like, that is not going to be resurrected. And sometimes it is just easier to pull everything out and start over, which I think, I mean, touch wood, like, I think the mint is usually quite forgiving of that. Like, I did leave the base of it. I I left some of the bottom part of it, and some of the plant did look healthy, so I did leave that part behind, but we have quite a lot here. I guess maybe, I don't know, I don't really have space to do it on another tray, so we're just gonna try and fit it all on here and see how that goes. When I'm filming this tomorrow, I'm doing my first conference ever presenting my research, so I thought we could maybe pick out an outfit for that. I'm not really sure. Obviously, I guess there's not a dress code, but I'm gonna assume it's like casual, professional. I don't know. I did think to wear like a white shirt dress because I always feel really good in a white shirt dress, but then I was like, what if you spill a coffee on it or something? And you won't be happy. So then I was like, well, maybe for peace of mind, it's better to pick a dark outfit, but I don't know. We can look at a few options together. And I mean, I guess by the time that you see this, it will have already happened. But sometimes seeing it on camera is helpful for me to like see like, oh, like that outfit kind of worked, or I feel different about it after I see it on camera. So yeah, I'm hoping that this isn't going to be too thick of a layer. I guess we will find out. But this mint plant has been prolific. And also I guess it's not officially spring yet, but I really want the lavender to flower this year. And so I gave everything a big watering of an organic plant fertilizer that I have, and yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, also I think that'll help the mint regenerate itself after this big pruning. Because I always tell myself that I'm like, even though it's technically winter for us here, it's the same temperature as like spring in other climates. So there's a few little pieces left over in here. I'll save those and make a tea later this morning. So yes. And now we will take my other tea towel. I don't think you have to press it down or anything, but ta-da, very anticlimactic. But I'm just gonna leave this. I think it says give it a week or something, but I've noticed things do tend to dry out quite quickly in here. All right, I've got some rosemary too, because who doesn't love a bit of a rosemary herb butter? And we've got our thyme here. It didn't really say how much, so we are winging it essentially. So I think thyme is really easy. You just pull it from the tip and then you go all the way against the grain, and you can just get it in there like so. And same thing, you pick it at the top. Sometimes the top comes off. You pull back opposite direction and in you go. And next for the rosemary, I think I'm going to give it a little bit of a chop because you want everything to be... This smells amazing, my goodness. I wish I could like bottle this scent. It's just so fresh. And also picking herbs in the morning is the best time to pick them because the essential oils are all in there and they haven't dried out over the day, and they will be at their most fragrant if you pick them early in the morning, like right now. So I think that looks okay for now. I mean, I can use this time for something else later. And I guess we're just gonna pull the petals out of the marigold. Do you know that marigold is called poor man's
saffron because, well, this variety is the buttercream variety, so it's white. But the yellow ones, apparently you can use them to color like a risotto, or you can use them sort of how you would use saffron. Apparently it doesn't taste exactly the same, but yeah, that was something interesting I learned today. So I'm gonna leave this on the bench so the butter can soften, and when the butter is soft enough, then we can mash it all together and try it on some toast a little bit later. Okay, I am ready to mash the butter up now. It's been sitting on the bench for an hour or two, I think. So obviously I have buttercream marigolds, so they are white. So it's not gonna be like a super obvious, like when you see it, it's not gonna be super obvious that there is marigold petals in it. Maybe like you'll see other herbs first, but I'm super interested to know how this is going to taste. And this is just regular grass-fed organic butter. Nothing special. I did think that maybe I'll just add a little pinch of salt to it, because salt works as like a flavor enhancer. It doesn't actually have a flavor of its own. So just the teensiest little pinch. And we will continue to stir this around. Now that looks pretty mixed in to me. Try and get the extra off of the fork so it's not just on the fork. I'll do it with, I'm gonna put some on toast just to see what it tastes like. So I'll just use the knife that I was planning on using. I know this is the teeniest, tiniest little piece of toast, but I only wanted just a little bit to try this. Let's dig in. You can definitely taste the rosemary. Oh. I'm getting like a little kick of the pepperiness from the marigold. I feel like this would be really nice over like grilled vegetables. Yum. It's super different. I mean, I guess I've never really eaten marigolds to my knowledge. Not like this, and it has like a freshness, kind of like tangy, sort of peppery. I think it would be really nice in a vinaigrette or a salad dressing. That is a vinaigrette, but or I think it'd be nice like over fish as well. You can tell the sourdough is really on its last legs. I think it's really nice with the little bit of rosemary. Is it weird watching someone eat something on a video? When I used to be a wedding photographer, it was like I always wrote it into the contract that it's like when I finished chewing that off camera. But that is really yummy. Highly recommend if you have marigolds in your garden. They're also really good for companion planting with tomatoes. My tomatoes are in the post, or at least the seeds are. But I think the marigolds that are in their pot, I have 3 little ones in there, so maybe I can transplant 2 of them out into the bigger pots when the tomatoes are ready to go in there, so that we can have some companion planting, which helps protect your plants from like pests and
improves the flavor of, I think growing basil next to it improves the flavor of your tomatoes, which I'm also going to do. I'm going to try and grow basil from seeds. So that should be interesting. Never done that before, but that was really yummy. I'm really excited to see like what other things I can do with the things that are growing in the garden. Like, I feel like it's going to be a good year for eating the harvest of the things that I've created. Because last year I mostly just did herbs and like plants that you can't eat because I was depressed about what happened with my first crop of vegetables the year previous. But I saw these really cute little wire cloches that I think will be really good for putting over the plants, like the vegetable plants, once they, oh my god, if you can hear that, that's my washing machine. I think they'll be really good for planting over like the tomatoes or the other like crop bearing vegetables that are going to be out there to keep the birds from eating them. And they're really cute too, because I know this is, to some people this isn't important, but for me, like, I like things in the garden to be pretty, and I don't love how it looks if you have to throw like a net over your plants. It kind of destroys the vibe a little bit. And I know, yes, it does protect them from the predators. What do we call the birds? Also, I got some new in bits for summer, which I'm kind of excited about. And I'm pretty sure that's what came in the mail today. So I thought that we could unbox them together. Sorry for faffing with my hair so much. This is, oh, I think I know what this is. If I can get into it and make sure my address is not on display on the internet, because we don't really want that. I feel like I'm trying to get into this. Ooh, okay, amazing. This is the viral Zara midi shirt dress. I did find a version on AliExpress that was quite similar to this one, but the fabric of this feels way nicer. Like, it's just a little bit heavier, I think. This is super cute. Like, already, like, the quality of it feels way heavier than the other version, and like the fabric just feels really nice. We can try this on in a second. We have, this one is from AliExpress. I feel like I've been finding some really good things on AliExpress lately. And I found a couple like handbags for summer that I think will be really cute. I think like it takes a lot for me to want to add a new handbag to the collection, because I kind of just like having the collection of like kind of classic bags that I've got, and then just in like brown and then black, and then your shoes always match, your accessories are always matched. But I love the like raffia and like tan leather combination for summer. I just think it's so cute, and it's like a perfect just little like it's a daytime bag, but also like I think you could use it for like events as well, because I think she's small, she's cute, she looks summery because of like the raffia and the tan together is just my absolute favorite combination. I like the gold hardware. This little lock detailing is so cute. She comes with a strap so you could wear her crossbody. I don't think I would do that. I mean, it's a little bit big to wear as a crossbody bag, but she's got an internal pocket with a zip. You could definitely fit like all your little bits and bobs in there. It does have a top zip, so if you're the kind of person that likes to zip up your bag entirely and not just leave it open like I do, you absolutely could, and all your bits are nice and safe and secure. I think this was a really good find. I think she's really cute and classic looking, and she's gonna go really well with all the other like tan accessories I have and like the tan sandals I have. I like to match my bag to my accessories, just because I think it makes it look more like tied together. It makes it more cohesive. And if you just choose accessories in the same kinds of shades, then it all just goes together and it makes your life really easy. I like having like black, and then I like having like I guess like a dark brown or like a tan, and then you can just kind of mix and match from there, and it makes your life way easier.
So that is bag number 1. I did order another bag. These are some, I mean, these kind of honestly go perfect. These are like a little sort of, is it canvas? They're like a canvas and brown, tan, slide mule, I don't know. Whatever you want to call them, with this little horse bit detail. I love this kind of like equestrian detailing on accessories, obviously because I love horses, but also just because I think it just kind of elevates an outfit in a really nice way. Like, I think it's just like a nice detailing. It always kind of reminds me a little bit of Ralph Lauren. I think these slides are going to be really cute with like linen shorts or like even a skirt or a dress. If you maybe like don't want to have an open-toed option, like just a slide or something, then these are gonna be a really good combo. And I mean, they kind of go with the bag pretty well, which is what I love about just having like an edit of accessories that has like similar elements to it, because then everything you can just kind of mix and match it all together and it all works. So I feel like those are also a really good find. Equestrian detailing. So I think like a silk scarf is a really good option for just an extra additional styling element. And this one is so cute. It is literally covered in horses. I think you could tie it like in your hair, like if you had a ponytail, this is not the right bag to do this with, but like you could tie it around the handle of your bag. Because there's so many like colors in here that are really like colors that I like to wear in my wardrobe. Like we have this kind of like almost like chocolatey brown, and then you've got like blues, creams, like I don't wear a whole lot of red, but there is red in there, like browns, tans, like lots of colors that I already wear in my wardrobe anyways. So I think, yeah, this is gonna be just a perfect little addition. And it says it's 100% silk, which is pretty impressive for AliExpress. It's that I thought would be really cute. It's got my initials on it, and what is going on with that fringe? It's got my initials on it, and it's in this beautiful like burgundy kind of croc pattern. But yes, I thought that would be super cute as a new phone case. The only thing is like, man, the plastic wrapping is not great, but these are actually really, really cute. I thought like the sort of cream, kind of almost like beigey color would be really nice, because sometimes with like an espadrille or like a wedge heel, I think it can be like, if they're like a dark color, it can be kind of blocky. But I'm hoping that this will just kind of like blend into your leg almost, so that it just sort of elongates your leg and it doesn't make it look like you have a giant hoof at the bottom of your leg. So we will try those on together. This bag is, no surprise, it is in like the canvas and tan leather, but this one's a little bit more structured. I feel like this one is a little bit more, like this feels almost a bit more casual to me, versus this one feels a little bit more, I guess she's more of like a kind of structured bag. So she's got a top flap, and she does come with a crossbody bag. So if you wanted to wear her crossbody, you absolutely could. And she's got a good amount of space in there. And like, you've got a top zip pocket, which is always handy. I don't usually, like, if it has a top flap, I probably wouldn't zip it, but it's nice to have the option. And then you do have like this sort of front flap, which would be really good for putting your phone in, and it sort of extends outwards a little bit like so. And yeah, I think the detailing on this is really nice. I think it would look really good with, yeah, some like tan accessories, or even you could go like, I think these two work together quite well. I just thought this would be a really nice sort of like smaller everyday bag option, especially for summer if you like don't want to be carrying a ton of stuff around. So yeah, that's what I got from AliExpress. I feel like my summer accessories like haul is, we're in a good place for summer accessories. Like, so I thought I would show you everything together that I just opened up so you can sort of see what I was thinking when I like picked these pieces and how they could just go together really easily with things that I've already got in my wardrobe, which is really like how I like to shop. And I find that it makes your wardrobe much more wearable in the sense that like when everything sort of is cohesive, then you have a lot more options to pick from in terms of like things kind of mixing and matching really well together. So this is the viral Zara dress. Honestly, she is amazing. I would say size up because I normally take a small in Zara sizing, and this is a medium. I feel like the sleeves are perfect on the small. They might have been too small. I have cinched in the waist. This is sort of how I envisioned it. So we have the little raffia and tan, it's not real leather, bag, and I've tied the scarf around it, as you can see there. And I just really love how like these tones all go together really well, and because I am a dark autumn and I'm choosing things that are in my color palette, it kind of goes together quite cohesively as well. The dress has pockets, which we absolutely love. And then if I back up, you can see that I have paired it with the little espadrille sandals that I showed you earlier. I really like how this looks. I think it's really flattering. I feel comfortable. It's classic. It's timeless. All the things that I'm looking for when I'm like putting things together in my wardrobe. I think this is a really nice like summery look. Or I keep getting served these ads for Ralph Lauren and they keep calling like the season pre-spring, and I was like, I really like that. Like it's like we're kind of ready for spring, but we're not totally ready for spring. Like there's still a little bit of a chill in the air in the morning, but in the afternoon you could absolutely wear a dress like this, and I'm really happy with this dress. Yeah, I think these espadrilles are really like, they're perfect. They're doing exactly what I wanted them to do. Hopefully you can see that. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell in the display if I'm fully in the scene, but I think you can see my feet. But yeah, this is exactly how I would style this. For honestly, I would just wear this like for a day out on the weekend. I would wear this on a weekday, like to work at my desk. And just like that same dress, different accessories, styled slightly different. So I think if I was going to bring a bag to this conference that I'm going to next week, I would probably pick one sort of more like this over the more basket bag-esque one out option, because to me like this is a little bit more structured. It's a little bit more like professional, I guess. The other one is like maybe you're going to a garden party, versus like this one is like, okay, you could be going to more of an office-y situation, just because it's a little bit more structured. And I'm wearing exactly the same dress, but you can see I have paired it with the little this is nice as well as like maybe more a professional kind of outfit, because yeah, you're maybe not wearing your summer espadrille wedges to go to a more, not corporate event, but like a university conference, a university conference event. Like maybe this feels a little bit more appropriate for that. It's been a couple weeks since I baked a sourdough. Things just got a little bit busy, and such is the way of life sometimes. But if you are also a sourdough starter mom, sourdough starter parent, if you have ever had a sourdough starter and you also have gotten a little bit busy, like life gets in the way sometimes, and you're like, oh no, has my starter that I've been like cultivating all this time, like do I just have to throw it out and, no pun intended, start again? No. Well, probably not. It depends on a few things. how long you've left your starter, because the way that it works is like when you start a starter, you are cultivating the yeast from the air, which sounds really disgusting, but the bacteria that is in the air that is like fermenting in the flour and water mixture together, and basically that bacteria uses the flour as fuel, like that's its food. So what happens is when your starter has been ignored, it's used up all its fuel and essentially it is starving. So I keep mine in the fridge because I only bake once a week, and I will do 2 feeds before I prepare the leaven, which is what then becomes your next starter. And if this is all really confusing for you, don't worry. You can go back to my other vlog where we bake a sourdough together and I take you through every single step. And I recommend like the books that I like, the tools that I like everything. If you want to get started with sourdough, that is the video to go and watch. If I can, I'll link it below if I remember when I'm editing this. So yeah, basically if your starter has been ignored for a couple of weeks, you probably can get things started again. And so what you're gonna do is you're just gonna feed it again. So you're gonna, when you feed your sourdough starter, you mix 50 grams of, well, it's like half and half of like 25 grams of whole wheat flour, 25 grams of white flour. And the reason we wanna do this is because the white flour is like quick fuel for the bacteria, and then the wholemeal flour has like more stuff for it to get into, so it'll burn through white flour quite quickly. The whole wheat flour will keep it fed for longer and also helps it ferment better. So yeah, that's why we put a little bit of whole wheat flour into our white loaf to kind of help get things get going or keep going. So then what you want to do is, so you're just going to feed your starter as you would normally feed it, like 50 grams of the flour, 50 grams of like good quality water, preferably like spring water that's like in a bottle and like doesn't, or if you have a really good house water filter, like you just don't want all of the chemicals that come from tap water because that really interferes with like the activity of the bacteria. So you're just gonna feed it, and I would recommend doing that every 12 hours until your starter, there's so many S's, why is it so hard to say? Sourdough starter, starting, whatever. I feel like my tongue is like stepping over, like, I can't even say it. Okay, anyways, so that's what happened with this starter, but then you want to just keep doing that every 12 hours until it is rising and falling predictably again. And because it is warming up for us now, it's the tail end of winter in Australia, the days are getting a little bit warmer, and so my starter is more active. And that's a really interesting thing I always think about like sourdough starters, is they are really dependent on the environment that they're in, like how warm your room is, how cold, like you don't want them in a drafty room. All of those things really affect the fermentation process. So yeah, this is my leaven. I'm going to, she doesn't want to focus. This is my leaven. We're gonna start another bread, another sourdough, like right now. Maybe I'll film a little bit of it, but I mean, if you really do want to go see the full process, you can go back to the video that I showed you and like how many times do we need to watch me make a sourdough. It's not really that, I mean, I don't know. Is it interesting to you watching the sourdough process, or is, I don't know. I hope it is if you're here, but anyways, I mean, watching me do it again, it's like, it's not going to be any different. It's the same process, but I just thought I would throw in some sourdough tips. If you are like me and you had a starter and you neglected it for a little bit, you probably can revive it. And if you're unsure, say your sourdough starter has been in the fridge for weeks and you haven't fed it, I mean, the only way to find out is to try. And the reason why I would prioritize restarting a starter I've already started is because the longer you have your starter, the better the flavors of the bacteria get. So a new starter versus like a starter that you've had for a while, they'll taste different. And granted, you can't do a side-by-side comparison because we can't go back to the past and taste the loaves that we were making, but generally the older the starter is, the better the bacteria, better the flavor, the better like it's just gonna work, because that bacteria colony is just, well, established, which is kind of, let's not think about that part too much. Yeah, so that's why I would prioritize reviving a starter I've had for a while. And so if you want to do that and you have a starter and you're not sure, there's one way to find out, and that's just giving it a go. Like, feed it a couple times, see what happens. And I think this one is like super active right now because it is getting warmer out. Like, because in case you missed the last one, the way that you tell is, like, I think these weck jars are really great because you can see, like, it's a really visual thing. Like, you can see how much it's risen. I put the, like, elastic band. This is how big it was when I first put everything in there. This is how much it's risen. It's like doubled, so you know that it's getting really bubbly and active. And you can smell it. And I actually would really recommend smelling your starter, especially if you're new to the process, smelling your starter to get to know it, because you'll smell why does this sound so gross? It's not. You'll get to know how it smells at different stages of the process, and that's really valuable information, because then you can start to tell when it starts to smell really tangy and almost acidic. That's when it's kind of time for it to be fed again. That's when it's sort of used up all its fuel, and if you bake with something that is overproofed, it's not going to rise better. Like, it is the law of diminishing returns when it comes to your sourdough starter. Like, you want to get it almost where it smells like almost a bit sweet, a bit creamy, and it's like a little tiny bit almost acidic, but not like a hit you in the face like vinegar smell. And that's what I mean when I'm like, I can say these words to you, that probably doesn't mean anything until you actually get to know what your starter smells like. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do now. And then the other thing you can do, I don't think I showed this last time, but we're gonna do it this time, and we're gonna hope that it works, and that's the float test. So after you've fed your starter and it's reliably rising and falling again, and then you've mixed your leaven, the way that you tell if your leaven is ready, it's gonna be able to rise a loaf of bread, because that's what we need it to do, is you get like just a drinking glass, and you fill it with like warm water, I'd say, like really much like room temperature water. I guess that depends what the temperature of your room is. But like, you don't want it to be like boiling water. You don't want it to be really cold. You want it to be like that nice in the middle. Next, I know I told you not to use metal spoons with your sourdough starter if you can help it. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do. And I mean, nothing too bad has happened yet. So we'll get just a little bit of our starter. Why is it so hard to say? And then you put it in there, and it's not floating, so we can tell that this probably needs a little bit longer. So I'm probably going to give this till, it's about 1:30 now, I'll probably give this to about 2, and then when it floats, you can tell that it's aerated enough to be able to rise a loaf of bread. So I'm about to make dinner, and I've been really wanting to try this recipe from Dinnerly. Can you see that? Will it focus? It's a chicken and veggie pie, and I think this just sounds so good. It might take a little while, but that's okay. I'm just looking now, and I was like, oh, that takes longer than I thought it was going to take, but that's okay. So we are preheating the oven to 190 degrees. And I've been getting recipes, boxes from Dinnerly for, gosh, years now. I just find that they're so easy, especially like when I'm busy with uni and it's like I don't want to have to think about what I'm going to eat. And also I'm not going to order something off of Uber Eats because there's just nothing to eat, or I have to think of what I'm going to make, or I have to go and shop for all the different things, because like I do not like eating the same thing every single day. Like, I like a bit of variety, but also when you're cooking for one person, that can be hard sometimes, because it's like you need like so much of something, and then you're like, well, now I have this giant thing of food and I'm going to be eating this for the whole week. So I feel like Dinnerly is a really good answer to that problem, because they say the portions are for 2 people. I find that they're so big, I literally can get 3 meals out of most of them. So I think it's like really good value for money, and it just makes life so easy. So yes, let's make this chicken pie together. It says to do it in a circular dish, but
I'm just gonna use a rectangular one because that's what I've got right now. So we've preheated the oven. I'm not gonna peel the potato because I can't be bothered. And also I'm not like bothered by potato skins. So I will bring you down a little bit so you can see what is happening. Make sure that camera's in a good spot. My sourdough is just doing its thing over here. So, cut the potato. I actually learned a new knife technique, and maybe this is like the right way to use a knife, and I didn't actually know that, but you're supposed to hold it like a pencil, and then you cut with the thing on a bit of an angle, and this has honestly been a game changer for me. So we've got the potato. I'm like reading this at the same time I'm talking to you, so if I take a break, that's why. Yeah, so that was news to me. I didn't know that I'd been using a knife wrong for my entire life. But I guess you don't know what you don't know. And as soon as I did it, I was like, wow, I actually am able to just have way more control over what I'm doing. And able to get things, like the thing I noticed the biggest difference on was like when I was trying to like julienne, like cut those really thin like matchsticks of something, I was like, this is so easy now. Why has no one told me this? It is, I was today years old when I found out I've been using a knife for my entire life. But anyways, now we know, and things are never going to be the same. This is literally a game changer. So, cutting up our potato in like a pie. I like to do things quite uniform in size and also just small because, I mean, if you like cut into your pie, you don't want to have giant pieces of whatever you're eating. You kind of want like the perfect bite where you get like one of each thing. So that's what we're aiming for. So I'm going to do a time lapse and then I will come back. Also, I had to go pick some herbs from the garden. The recipe doesn't call for them, but I just think nobody is mad at more herbs. And so, you can see what I'm doing. Right now we are just starting the onions. I always like to start the onions first because like they take the longest to sweat down, and it just really improves things when you have your onions, like when you really give them the time to cook down. And while we are doing that, I am going to toss the carrot in there and the potato, as well as a little bit of butter. And we're going to give that a good stir, and then the lid is going on. And then to make the sauce, I've mixed the country seasoning and water together, added a little bit of Worcestershire sauce because it just makes everything. I
I cut the chicken up off camera because nobody really wants to look at cut up chicken. I don't think. It's kind of gross. So this is just cooking in there. And while that is happening, I'm going to why can I not remember the word? I'm going to cut up? That doesn't seem like the right word. I'm going to cut the herbs. I'm going to dice the herbs. None of those sound like the right words. I don't know. Anyways, the herbs are going to be trimmed, processed? I don't know. I'm going to just use, this is not the right knife for the job, but the other knife has like chicken stuff on it. So, this is what we are working with. And yeah, I've got oregano and thyme here. When I first moved to Australia, like in Canada we say oregano. In Australia they say oregano. And I remember when I first came here I was like, are people joking? Is that how you actually say that? But it's like I said in the other vlog, when it comes to like the accent and how you pronounce certain words, like tomato, I never know what's gonna come out. It just is whatever it is. I'm gonna put a little bit of cracked black pepper in as well. I swapped to cooking with cast iron because I guess I sort of fell down the rabbit hole of like how bad like Teflon is, or like most non-stick cookware is really bad for you. And so I was like, yeah, I'm not about that life. So then I swapped to cast iron, and I feel like it's been a little bit of a learning curve. Like the thing that I like it. But the only thing is, like, the pots are really heavy, obviously, and that can be a little bit annoying to clean, and also, like, things really do get stuck to them. So, yeah, not like I think I would give up, like, the, like, cast iron, like the Dutch oven that I'm using that you saw before. I'm just stirring it right now while we're chatting. Yeah, it's not like I want to give that up because this is actually really good for like stews or that kind of thing, or like anything where it needs to go in the oven as well, or like I really like it for making soup in. But I was looking at the Our Place, something like that. And their nonstick cookware is like non-toxic, and I was very intrigued by that. Or the other option I've heard of is like ceramic cookware, and I have like a little small like pan that I use sometimes, but it's really good. I like it, but it's just a little bit too small sometimes, depending what you want to put in there. So yeah, I've been thinking, and I've been looking, and because like this is good, but it would be nice to just have something that's like a pan size, but like bigger than the one that I've currently got. I don't know. Anyways, so this is. It's crazy how fast stuff cooks in cast iron too, and it's so crazy how hot it gets, like how quickly in there, like, yeah, it was definitely a little bit of a learning curve. Like I was like, what did I get myself into? But at the same time, it's really nice knowing that you're not gonna poison your food while you're cooking it. So I put a little bit of garlic in here. Dinnerly just sends you like a whole clove of garlic for the whole week, so I just always have such a surplus of garlic, because it's kind of have more than you need for the whole week, which is very generous. But yeah, I was thinking it's really nice, like, you can like wrap garlic bulbs, like whole garlic bulbs, in tin foil and then roast it in the oven and then squeeze out the roasted garlic, and it is so yummy on bread or like stirred into other things. And like I definitely could do that with it, but it's just remembering to do it. Because I always think about that every time I see the colony of garlic cloves that's in my fridge. And you can also plant garlic cloves and then grow your own garlic and then never have to buy it ever again. Like you just stick a clove in the dirt is my understanding. And I like that idea, but I'm like, I already have a surplus of garlic. What would I do if I was growing it and I had more? Like, I'm not prepared. Although, it would keep the vampires away. Maybe, do we want to keep the vampires away though? Like, I always joke to one of my friends that if I had to be like a mythical creature, I think a vampire would be a good option for me, because then I could just keep going to different universities and getting all of the degrees and just being like an absolute expert in my field or multiple fields, and they'd be like, oh my god, you've published so many papers going back to hundreds of years, how is this possible? Yeah, that's what I think about sometimes. I just love learning. I love learning so much, and I love just like the academic environment. So yeah, this is looking good. I'll bring you down so you can have a little looky. So there's where we're at now, and what we're gonna do is take a tablespoon of flour and make the sauce. Oh wait, did I forget a step? I completely forgot a step. My bad. Before we do that, we're gonna put our chicken in, and then we're going to cook that. So, going to give that a good stir, and also I actually hate cutting raw chicken so much that I cut it with a knife and fork. Like I will literally use like a proper kitchen knife, but I'll just cut it up with a knife and fork because I really don't like the texture of it. I was vegan for a really long time, fun fact, like from I think 15 or 16 years old to like 17 or 18 I was vegetarian, and then I became vegan until I was like 32, I think. So whatever the numbers are on that. And then I unbecame vegan just because, I don't know, my energy levels, and I think just, yeah, I don't know. And so now like I eat meat again, but I don't know. I don't feel good about it sometimes. I do try and get like, yeah, free range where possible, or like cage-free eggs or like that kind of stuff, or grass-fed beef if I do ever buy beef. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel great about it. It's kind of like that tough thing between like deciding what is going to be the most important thing. Like, it's like, am I going to prioritize like meal convenience, that at least I can still like cook from home and I'm not ordering Uber Eats all the time and I'm eating like a balanced diet, or like getting organic meat and all of that. I feel like it's not an easy decision. So the chicken is cooking, and I put a little bit of the stock in there because it was starting to get a bit hot at the bottom, and just to get all like the flavorful bits off of the bottom of the pan whilst that chicken is cooking. And now we are going to go in with our flour, and we're going to make the sauce. So I'm just going to grab a tablespoon. It's a very heaped tablespoon, but if you put a little bit extra, I think like it helps the sauce to like thicken properly. So if you like a thinner sauce or a thicker sauce, maybe that is down to personal preference. So we cook the flour because it's actually really bad to eat raw flour. I mean, it would be getting cooked anyways, but yeah, you give that a mix until you start to see it thickening up. And it's like really important not to rush this step because that's gonna be like what helps thicken the sauce, which is gonna form the sauce for the pie. That looks, they usually say about a minute for you to do that. I think this is gonna taste so good. My mouth is watering already. And the other thing I really like about Dinnerly also is most of the things come together in about 30 minutes, which is really great when you're hungry and you don't want to wait. And I'm not gonna lie, like my favorite ritual is like sitting down to pick out the recipes for the next week. Yeah, but then sometimes 2 weeks later you're like, oh, I wish I had chosen this instead of this, and you can't go back. But yeah, I love it. It's like, makes meal planning fun because you're like, oh, I get to choose all of these things, but I don't have to like shop individually for each thing. So now we've added that in, and I've turned up the heat because this is going to come to a boil, and then that's going to be what thickens the sauce. And that was also boiling water in the little thingy as well. So that has been brought up to the boil, and it says are we leaving it uncovered? So that is going to do its thing until the potato is cooked for 15 minutes. And in the meantime, we're going to prepare the phyllo pastry for the next port of call is to heat a tablespoon of, I'm using liquid coconut oil, and a little bit of butter in a saucepan to melt it. And this is going to get brushed in between the layers of the pastry. This is the little ceramic pan that I was telling you about earlier, and you can see like it's not the biggest. It could be bigger. But it is just such like a handy little pan. Like, it does a good job of being non-stick. And we are going to be using this little pastry brush to brush the pastry. So I just thought I would use it also to stir the butter in the pan. We have our phyllo pastry. If there's any left over, I think I can make like a tart or something, but we'll see how much this recipe uses. So, we've got our pastry. I can't tell if this is... Yes, this is the pastry. I was like, is this plastic or is this the pastry? So, oh my god, we're making such a mess. The bench is clean, so I guess, you know what, we're just gonna do it straight on there, which is what the recipe says to do. If you have wood countertops and you found that they've gotten really sticky over time, what is the secret how to clean them? Because my countertops are clean, but they're just getting stickier and stickier. Anyways, brush this with the butter mixture.
The filling has been cooking for 15 minutes in its little pot, and so now it is time to add it to the tray, and then we're gonna put the phyllo pastry on top of it, and then we're gonna bake it for 35 minutes. The other thing I feel like is such a learning curve with cast iron is just how everything is hot. Obviously the pot gets, like, the handles get hot, the lid gets hot, and that just wasn't something I really thought about when I was buying it. I don't know. Is that like silly? I guess I just didn't really think about it. And so it's like, feels like you have to have oven mitts every time you want to just take something on or off the stove. Such is life. A very first world problem to have. If I had enough little ramekins, I think this would be nice to do as like little individual pies, but sadly, I do not. Now we have our pre-buttered pastry. And how are we gonna do this? You know what? We're just gonna fold her to fit, because we don't want to waste any of it, and all those extra flaky layers, I just imagine they're gonna get better. So we've done that, and now we want to put some holes so the steam can escape. And now we're gonna put her like so. She doesn't look amazing right now, but just wait. And now she's going in the oven. Now she's going in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes until she is puffed and golden on the top. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go catch up on The Gilded Age, which I am completely obsessed with. Let me know if you've watched it. I have never been so taken, or never, I haven't been taken by a show like in such a long time. Just like the attention to detail, the architecture, like the stories. I know that it's not real, but it's kind of like based on real people, like composite characters of like real people, so they don't get a lawsuit for defamation of dead people, I guess. But on YouTube, I guess YouTube knew that I was into The Gilded Age, and they were like, do you want to see this tour of one of the last surviving mansions? And I was like, of course I do. And this was someone's summer home. It was in Newport in Rhode Island. It wasn't even their permanent residence. They valued it at like $300 million. It's all built out of stone, and like inside the detailing is so ornate, and like even the servants area has like crown molding, and just the level of attention to detail, the way that they built things then, it's just crazy. And the other day I was asking ChatGPT, I was like, I was trying to figure out like what eras of architecture I liked, and then I realized I don't really like anything after the end of the 1800s, because it's like, hear me out, I just feel like modern design, for the most part, they value just getting things up quickly and then that's enough. And it's like, or it's like really modern minimal design, which I really don't care for. I don't really like super modern anything. It's just not my vibe. I love old things. And yeah, like just seeing how like every single little tiny detail, like there was no inch of the ceiling that hadn't been like insanely decorated. Like it was a work of art, and I just love that. Like everywhere your eye looks, something is beautiful. And I think there's really something that makes you feel some kind of way when you're in a space, and like everywhere you have somewhere to look, there's like something pleasing to look at. It really changes how you feel. So anyways, I'm gonna go watch that while I wait for the pie to bake, and then I will come back and we'll check in on her. And she's done! I can't tell you how good this smells. I'm so excited to tuck in. I think I might end this vlog here. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to subscribe. And yeah, so we can help grow this channel. I hope you have an amazing day. I will talk to you soon. Bye.